All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of D&D Deep Dive, the show where we dive deep into classes, subclasses, and other features of D&D 5e so you can get the most out of your choices. So, today, we're going to do something kind of cool. It's really rare that I get to do something like this, mostly because I have backlogs and backlogs of the videos I want to make, and so the new stuff tends to take a backseat a lot. That's not what's happening today, because this is something really cool has happened recently. There is an incredibly amazing person by the name of Dael Kingsmill. She is formerly a Geek and Sundry vlogger that specialized in myths and legends and folklore stuff like that. And now she does. She has her own YouTube channel, which I'll have a link to all of her stuff in the description down below. But she does a combination of things. She still does the myths and legends stuff, but she also does a lot of D&D related content, and that's actually how we met, quote unquote. I used to run a 48-hour D&D live stream for Extra Life for 2 years, and one of the years I put out a call for players, and Dael was kind enough to answer me, and she played in my 8-hour long Castlevania game I ran. And yeah, we've kind of known each other ever since. We don't interact a ton because she's in Australia and is like actually an important person, and I'm neither of those things. So yeah, but I still enjoy all the stuff she puts out, and she recently did something super cool. She teamed up with her friend Jeremy. What's Jeremy? What's his last name? There are way too many things going on here. Grr! To get my keyboard out. There you go. So sorry, folks. Jeremy Melul. Jeremy, if I'm pronouncing your last name wrong, forgive me. But they teamed up and they created a supplement for the new Theros setting for D&D. If you're not aware, Theros is actually one of the Magic the Gathering settings, worlds, the things that they have, and it's actually based on mythology. Specifically, I want to say Greek mythology, but I might be wrong there. Dael, if you're watching this, you can correct me in the comments. But yeah, so they created this supplement for Theros, and it just got released on the DMs Guild. Technically, last night for me, I'm really bad at time zones, so I'm going to say that I'm recording this in less than 24 hours of when it was published. So I believe I should be one of the first people making a video about this, other than Dael herself, because she made it. But anyways, so I immediately went and purchased it, because I always want to support Dael any way I can. And I'll have a link to the actual the thing in the comments below. Last time I checked, it was either a copper or a silver bestseller already on the DMs Guild. So please go and purchase this. But the supplement itself is a combination of a fair amount of things. The first basic half of it is a new subclass for each of the base classes in D&D 5e that are myth Theros related. And then it's got some NPC stat blocks that you can use for allies or enemies or anything like that. And then it's got some magic items and a few other things. Like it's got some name suggestions if you want to have more of a kind of mythical sounding name. Overall, it's really, really cool. And I figured the best way that I could support her, other than purchasing it, is actually do D&D deep dives on each one of the classes, and strongly encourage everyone to pick it up because, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Dael, and like I said, I've actually read through the whole of the thing. It is astoundingly cool. I have some issues-ish with a few of the features of some of the subclasses, which we'll get into here. But they're mostly just the balancing things, which this is kind of how the things work when you create new content. Is it doesn't matter how much playtesting you've done and how good at the theory crafting and stuff like that you are. As soon as you release it, it's going. People are going to point out issues and flaws with it, and you're going to update it. That's one of the things I like about the DMs Guild is you can update your stuff pretty easily. The content I have published on the DMs Guild, which has been on there for I think for 4 years now. My first one, the Dragon Knight, I updated 5 times over the course of 2 years, and it's a platinum bestseller, by the way. So yeah, I'm hoping Dael and Jeremy, if you guys do watch this, I hope you take any criticism I have as constructive, and yeah. With that, let's dive into this, because I want to keep these videos short-ish so that normal people can watch them. Now, I am going to mention one thing, because this is brand spanking new and it's on sale right now. I'm going to be slightly more vague about some of the features in that, simply because I don't want people to be able to use my videos as a way to get all the information they need to play the class without having to purchase it. So there may be things that I intentionally leave out. That's just so I'm not like ruining Dael and Jeremy's ability to actually make a profit off of all the work and stuff they put into this. So let's dive right into this. We're going to basically just go through it as it's listed in the document itself. And that means we're going to start with the Barbarian Path of the Mythic Totem. Now, one thing, and this is just a good commentary on all of these subclasses, is after the title of the subclass, there's generally anywhere from like a single paragraph to 2 or 3 paragraphs that gives you a little bit of a flavor for the subclass, which I personally really enjoy. They do that in the player's handbook. They do it in all the official supplements, and it really gives you more than just mechanics to kind of base the character on. And some of the subclasses have an okay amount, but that's one thing I think you guys could put a little bit more in. Like the Barbarian one is literally a single sentence And other ones are, again, just a couple of sentences. So I really would like a little bit more kind of flavor and the lore to these. I just think it makes it easier to kind of dive into this as a subclass and just get the feeling for it. The other thing, Dael actually talks about her inspirations, like legends and myths that actually inspired a lot of these classes. None of that is actually in the document itself. She has a video where she explains it. That will be in the description. Watch it. But I really would love to see something like that in those little preview descriptions. This is something that adds just a little bit more. Now, I will say, but before they list the things proper, they do have like a little section where they give you, 2 paragraphs for each subclass that go a little bit more into the lore. But the fact that it's kind of separated into here's your previews, here's your full thing, and it's hard for me to dive into some of these subclasses. So if at all possible, if you do decide to revise this, just adding a couple, you can play a character like, Achilles with this, or the things like that are not that bizarre. If you look at the player's handbook, they do give examples from various settings to define some of the classes in that. So I don't think it would be outside the realm of reason to list some of the mythical heroes and ideas that inspired this. So that being said, let's drive right back, right into Path of the Mythic Totem. One of the reasons, now that I've kind of, crapped on this, one of the main reasons why it's such a short description is Path of the Mythic Totem is quite literally just a supplement to the Totem Barbarian that's already exists. It basically gives you the 3 new totems you can use if you choose the Path of the Totem Barbarian, and because of that, you technically can kind of mix and match your totem spirits with every time you get to pick a new feature. So you can use some PHB ones, you can use some from the Sword Coast Adventures guide, and then you can also use some from this supplement. So that's why this one's probably a little bit thinner. But beyond that, the new things that they add are really interesting. With the Path of the Totem Barbarian, which I don't think that's what it's actually called. I just, for the life of me, cannot remember the actual subclass. Path of the Totem Warrior is what it's called. So with the Path of the Mythic Totem, you get basically 3 chances to pick a totem creature, like I mentioned in my video on the Barbarian, and each one of these will give you different benefits. You can pick this as the same creature every single time. You can pick different creatures every single time. The big kind of defining aspect is you generally need something like a fetish or a necklace or something that represents your totem animal anytime you get a new one. So that can be a really nice kind of little lore thing. Going into the specifics here. You have at the 3rd level you get Totem Spirits. At the 6th level you get Aspect of the Beast, and then at the 14th level you get Totemic Attunement. Everything else about this class is identical to the Path of the Totem Warrior. They reprint it here, so you can literally just use this as a supplement without having to flip back between both of them. If you only want to use kind of a mythic abilities, but I'm not really going to go into the stuff that's the exact same as the other subclass. So for Totem Spirit, which is what you get at the third level, you get a choice between Chimera, Hydra, and Sphinx. Chimera is built around making you more difficult to hit with spells. You get an advantage on saving throws to resist spells and magic effects, and you get some additional benefits to your danger sense, which is a barbarian ability that gives you advantage against for dex saves against effects that you can see or hear. You get a benefit to that kind of expands the instances when you can use it, or rather kind of limits the instances where you can't use it. Won't go any further than that. Get the guide to, but get the actual product to see the exact wording. For Hydra, while you're raging, you regain hit points at the start of each of your turns. The specific amount of hit points are static. They're not based on a die roll. The specific equation, again, go and pick up the guide. And if you take fire damage, the trait doesn't work on your next turn. And then for the Sphinx, while raging, you have resistance to psychic damage, and you have advantage on saving throws to see past illusions and being or resist being charmed. I didn't really see a way to kind of vagify that. So as the third level ones, when you look at this stuff that you get with the Barbarian at the third level, these the Totem Spirits generally tend to be kind of supplementary. Like the Bear gives you resistance to almost all the damage types except for Psychic. Sphinx gives you resistance to psychic damage, which is really nice. So they fit in pretty well with what's already established. When we think back to what the Barbarian is kind of defined as, remember on the 5th edition, each class should be very unique right from the get-go. And the things that define the class should show up within the first couple levels. And generally, your subclass should find a way to kind of modify or change some aspects of those defining features. The Barbarian is built on the idea they can do lots of damage. They can take a lot of punishment, and they rage. So you can see all of these kind of fit into the they can take a lot of damage. With the Hydra one being the most definite example of that, where you're actually getting healed. You're not getting to temp hit points, which is what you generally see for abilities like that. You're actually getting healed every turn as long as you're raging. And most barbarians I've seen as once they get to decent levels, they're almost always raging in combat. They have enough rages built up that they can always be doing that. So I think it's interesting. I like all the three. I think the Hydra one with the just straight up healing could possibly be a little bit overpowered. So this is simply because of how it's built. The higher your level, the more useful the ability is going to become. And I just think at higher levels, it's already really difficult to kill a barbarian. By giving them healing, which can stack up upon itself compared to temp hit points, which don't stack. I think that might make a Hydra Barbarian just about impossible to kill, aside from always having to throw enemies that use fire damage at them. So that's my only kind of critique to it. And I'm not 100% certain on it. I would want to see this played as opposed to just kind of the theory crafting it, because I could see it go both ways. Next one, like I mentioned, is Aspect of the Beast. Chimera. You can cast Detect Magic as a ritual, and you gain proficiency in Arcana, which kind of fits in with the Chimera being a very kind of magic-based barbarian. But instead of being a magic-based barbarian where they're a caster, they're a magic-based barbarian where they're kind of built to fight magic users. And deal with magical problems. Combining this with something like, what's the feat? I think it's Wizard's Slayer from the Player's Handbook. Could make a really, really imposing anti-magic character. Hydra for Aspect of the Beast. You can actually reduce your exhaustion level by 1 when you finish a short when you finish a short rest, which is another really useful thing. Exhaustion is one of the most debilitating conditions in 5th edition, so the ability to just kind of get rid of exhaustion yourself is a big deal. And because it happens on a short rest, you can have multiple short rests in a day, so you can get rid of multiple levels of exhaustion, which normally would need like greater restoration. With it being a 6th level ability, all of Aspect of the Beast, all of them are 6th level. I don't really see a problem with it. Like I said, it gives you a choice. It's not so good that you really have to take it, but it's good enough that it's a valid choice to make. And then Sphinx, when you enter your rage, you let out this super loud roar, and each creature you choose within the 30 feet of you makes a Wisdom save. And a creature that fails this saving throw is deafened and frightened for a minute and takes some thunder damage, which again, if you want to find out what that is, pick it up. It's only about $8, so that's fantastic. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So this really kind of turns just the rage itself into an offensive weapon. Fear is a remarkably good status effect to inflict. The fact that you get to do actual damage by just raging, and you get to choose which creatures it affects, makes this a really, really good ability. The nice thing about all of these is the last sentence of each explanation actually ties how this ability links to the creature itself. So definitely read up on this stuff. It's super good, and very well described, I guess is the word. Yeah, it works lore wise. And then for the 14th level, you get to Totemic Attunement for the Chimera, again, with the whole magic, or anti-magic, I guess, the theme. When you're raging, so it links back to that idea of, rage is part of their the thing, and they're really hard to kill is kind of Chimera's thing. If you're targeted by a spell, you can use your reaction to immediately move up to your speed. And if you end your movement right next to the person casting this spell, they've got to make a con save. The DC, I will let you guys find out by purchasing the class. But if they fail the spell, the spell is interrupted and they never get to cast it, which is super cool. And they take bludgeoning damage, which again you can get the class to actually look at the amount, but this one is based on the die plus a modifier, so it can change. And on a successful save, the spell's not interrupted, and the caster takes half of the damage. So this is Chimera is really interesting for this final one because first of all, it gives you another use for your reaction. And I mentioned before, action economy wise in 5th edition, you want to be able every single turn to use your move, to use your action, to use your bonus action, and to use your reaction every single round. I mean, because every single one of those the things minus the move for the most part, but the action, bonus action, and reaction, all of those added advantage to your party. So anytime you get the ability to use your bonus action more or use your reaction more, that's a good thing because generally most classes, the only reaction they ever take is opportunity attacks, and they don't happen often, especially if you're fighting really smart opponents. I like that. I think it's really interesting. Like I say, an anti-magic character would go really well just going Chimera all through the 3 times. Hydra, when you're raging, if you attack at least 2 different creatures, when you take the attack action, you can make 1 additional melee weapon attack as a bonus action. Kind of simulating the multiple heads of the Hydra. This one's actually kind of similar to the Drunken Monks high-end ability where they can do up to 5 of a flurry of blows attacks as long as they have to attack different creatures. And with how damaging barbarians can get, this is basically an area attack for a barbarian without having to worry about collateral damage. Being able to hit up to 3 people with barbarian attacks, which I know a lot of barbarians will use Great Weapon Master to just get these insanely high damages, and being able to do that with the 3 different characters is massive. And then for the Sphinx, while you're raging, you can use your action to magically teleport, along with any equipment you're wearing or carrying, up to a specific amount of feet that you guys can find out if you pick it up. To an unoccupied space you can see. And when you appear there, if there's a good creature in range of your melee attack, you can make a melee weapon attack as a bonus action. I love teleportation. I really, really do. Misty Step, I love it. My monk, the one I play, is a shadow monk that can shadow step and just bamps around the field. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I really like the fact that the Sphinx gives you the ability to bamf and attack, because I think that's super cool. It gives you a use for your bonus action, which some barbarians just don't get a use for their bonus action. If you're using a 2-handed weapon, you're not going to get bonus action attacks and stuff. So yeah, overall, for this, I think the Chimera probably has the strongest the theme to it, where everything in the Chimera system is all about being anti-magic and becoming a really cool like wizard slayer, magic user slayer. Like I said, that feat that I totally remember, and I'm not blanking on whatsoever. Feats, there they are. I can't remember what it's called. Mage Slayer, there it is. Adding Mage Slayer to a Chimera to Totem Barbarian can make a really powerful Mage Slayer. You know, this is someone that's specifically trained to take out wizards. Now, but because not every combat is going to have wizards and spellcasters, your mileage may vary a little bit with how useful it is. But if your campaign is very magic focused, this could be a super cool option to choose. Hydra is a little bit more strange in my personal opinion. I get the inspiration between each one of the abilities, but as far as kind of the theming it, yes, they're all the things that kind of fit with the legend of the Hydra. Specifically with the fire thing is that's how you were able to stop the Hydra from getting more heads. So I think it's kind of cool, and I think it's really useful. Is the good thing. However, it's not quite as easy to go. Oh, Chimera is all about anti magic stuff. If you want to, survive against super powerful wizards, go Chimera. Hydra is, well, it's a mixed bag. So it's a little bit hard to pin down, but still really interesting. Sphinx takes that to the next level. Resistance to psychic damage, the ability to make your rage, going into rage actually hurt and to frighten people, and then giving you a teleport ability. Like I said, the theming wise is a little bit harder to kind of give an elevator pitch for. They all are kind of psychic mind altering stuff. If you could consider the fear as a mind altering. But that being said, they're super cool. Like mechanics wise, I really love everything in this. Like I said, the only one I'm kind of hesitant about is the healing every round as a Hydra that you get at level 3. But beyond that, like, it's just really cool, really interesting. If you're familiar with the myths that these come from, it's even more interesting. But yeah, so that's the Barbarian Totem. Mythic, what was it? Path of the Mythic Totem. Because this one's a little bit shorter, I'm going to jump into this. I'm going to try and keep this under for 45 minutes. So let's jump into the Bard College of Tragedy. If you're not familiar with theater in general, one of the earliest forms of the theater that actually still influences modern theater today was the Greek theater. They did amazing things. When I was in high school, I got to study Greek theater. In college, I got to do it even more because I was a theater major. Greek theater, like the idea of Deus ex machina, if you've ever heard that phrase, it's a phrase that basically means something. Some more powerful being or creature comes in and fixes everything. At the end of the story, because the people involved, it's so screwed up they'd never be able to fix it on themselves. That's actually from Greek theater, because in a fair amount of Greek theater, they actually would have a character descend from the sky on the stage as a god to kind of fix everything, because the mortals just screwed it up. A lot of times they screwed up what was already screwed up by the gods, because Greek gods in general were really good at just screwing things up a lot more than they were fixing them. But yeah, so Greek the theater is a huge influence on me, huge influence on the theater in general, and one of the most I guess memorable forms of Greek theater, at least for me, was the tragedy. Things like Oedipus, Oedipus Rex, and Antigone, and I can't remember the third one in that trilogy. I read all of them when I was in high school. They are profound. Psychology actually has what's called the Oedipus complex, which is basically if you have a thing for your mother, that's a little more than you should really have for your mother. Yes, this is so. That's a really big part of everything, and that's kind of base what the College of Tragedy is based on. Is the idea that tragedy. A lot of people think of bards as kind of hoity-toity, and they seduce everything, and they tell jokes and vicious mockery, and they're very entertaining. However, tragedy and morose feelings and the things like that can inspire and challenge you just as much as comedy and other things like that. If you're wondering where I'm getting this from, if you watched Dael's video, she says the exact same thing. I don't know why I'm saying it again, other than it was really interesting to hear. So let's actually go into the actual mechanics, so I can give you something different. When you join the College of Tragedy at the third level, you can actually spend, if you spend at least a day observing a target humanoid or fae, you learn your choice of the creature's ideal, bond, or flaw. If you're not sure what those are, when you build a character in 5th edition, there's actually this little section that says ideals. What is it? Ideals, bonds, flaws, and one other thing that I can't remember off the top of my head. But the basics of this is this gives you an idea into their actual motivation. What is it that drives this character? And then when you make a charisma check against them, you can actually use this to improve your chance of success. So basically, you have to study them for a day. But if you do, you can use what you learn, their motivations, to more effectively manipulate them. Whether that's through lying, whether that's through intimidation, whether it's just through persuasion, you're going to be more effective at getting them to do what you want. Mechanically, what you do is you can actually use one of your bardic inspirations and add it to roll the die, and then add it to your check. So when we think about the bard, the kind of defining features of the bard is they're jack of all trades kind of thing, where they can do a little bit of everything. And their bardic inspiration is their really defining feature, along with expertise a little bit later. But so this is giving you another way to use your bardic inspiration, which is really cool. It is a bit limited in the fact that you have to watch someone for an entire day in order to get this. But if you can afford to do this, this would be especially useful for things like shopkeepers you deal with a lot, or maybe leaders of the city, or maybe a guild master that you interact with a lot. Characters you're going to repeatedly deal with. This will be a really useful thing to have. The other thing you get at the third level is what's called Katharsis, which basically, if an ally within 60 feet is reduced to 0 hit points, you can actually expend a use of your bardic inspiration and inspire multiple other members of your party. which is really good. It's effectively multiplying the number of inspirations you can give out in a day. If you want to know exactly how many, go ahead and pick it up, because it's really awesome. This is a really interesting thing, because again, the defining feature of the bard is their inspiration is the big thing. No other class can do that, but they're limited by how many that they can do in a day. This effectively gives you significantly more chances to use that, which is fantastic. It really allows the bard to be able to inspire a lot more. It does require one of your allies to go down. But again, as a bard, your inspiration is generally a bonus action, so you can bonus action when they go down. Or actually, this is just a reaction. Use your reaction to do it. So another use of reaction, always good. Use your reaction when they go down. When your turn gets there, you can heal them back up. And no one's really the worse for wear. And you have two people with Bardic Inspiration dice. So that's great. At a 6th level, you get some interesting things. One of the things you get is you can actually inspire unconscious creatures who currently have 0 hit points. So the thing with Bardic Inspiration is generally the target needs to be able to hear or see you. This effectively lets you inspire someone who can't hear or see you because they're unconscious. I don't know how incredibly effective that's going to be, because I'm actually not sure if you can use a Bardic Inspiration on a death save. I don't think you can, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. However, the other half of this is significantly more useful, which is you could expend, as a bonus action, you could expend one use of your Bardic Inspiration, choose a creature then the 30 feet, and give it the vulnerability to the damage type of your choice until the beginning of your next turn. There are other ways that it interacts with things like resistances and immunities. If you want the full text, like I said, go ahead and pick it up. It's super awesome. But this is a really big deal. Bardic Inspiration has a lot of different uses, but it tends to be a more defensive, supportive ability. If you go with something like College of Swords or College of Valor, it gives you the ability to use it a little bit more aggressively. This, however, is probably the most aggressive aspect you could have for it, which is applying the vulnerability to a damage type. If you could coordinate with, let's say you've got a wizard or a sorcerer in your party, give it the vulnerability to a damage type that is a really powerful spell they're about to cast, and you've just doubled their damage. On the flip side, if you've got a bunch of melee characters, like maybe you have one of those barbarians and then a fighter and a monk, give them vulnerability to a damage type that they can all use. And watch their damage skyrocket. It's a great way to really be a very powerful support character for your party. And because it's your bonus action, you still have your action. Again, with the bard, they have the ability to learn spells from any class, so they can pick a spell that lets them do the damage type they've just given the vulnerability to. And because this is just your Bardic Inspiration, not like a spell cast, you can use your action to cast a full leveled spell. Super useful and really interesting way to play the character, because at that point you have the choice between, do I want to give an ally extra help when they need it, so they can use their Bardic Inspiration to make sure they make a check or a save or something like that, or can I use it can I use it to ensure everyone does just crap tons of damage? Like I said, it gives you really good choices you can make. And for me, that's the most important part about class options is they should give you choices. They shouldn't give you an obvious, this is always what you do because it's always the right answer. And I think that's what that does. 14th level, you get what's called shared adversity, which I just love the idea behind this. Basically, people can bond over shared hardships, is the idea behind it. And the mechanical aspect is a creature that has your bardic inspiration can transfer it to another creature within 10 feet as a bonus action by basically going, dude, that sucks. I'm super sorry that had to happen to you. Here's some inspiration. I love this. Not only does this give other party members a use for their bonus action, which can be incredibly valuable, but it means you can be even more frivolous with your bardic inspirations, because if you inspire the wrong person with most bards, you run the issue of, well, man, I really wish I'd given my inspiration to this person because they're about to die, or they really need to make this attack roll because they're the only one that can sneak attack, or you know, this is the paladin, we need him to smite this undead creature, and I wasn't thinking. This basically means whoever's got the football can just lateral it to another player, whomever needs it. And this is the kind of ability that really encourages and almost forces the party to think about what other characters and what other players are going to be doing on their turn. In combat, a lot of times in 5th edition, you've got 5 people all doing their own thing and hoping that it works with other people are doing. However, this is something like this. This really requires them to go, hey, do you need an inspiration? What are you planning on doing? Oh, I could use this as the inspiration because I'm going to do this, and if it hits, it'll do this. Or I need the inspiration for this. It forces, or encourages at least, the team to work with each other and to plan and the things like that, which is really hard to do in any tabletop game. If your party is not accustomed to the idea of planning together and everyone working together and all of your actions being part of a greater team, it's really hard to teach this. And this ability, I think, is a really great way to encourage that without having to kind of force it down people's throats. So yeah, went a little bit over what I wanted, but those are the first 2 subclasses in the brand new Heroes and Villains of the Theros supplement that has just been launched on the DM's Guild. So please check it out. Like I said, we got a link for it in the description below. Please pick it up. Like I said, it's like $8. It's super cheap, and the amount of content you get in here for $8 is just astounding. Another thing that I just want to mention briefly, I'm proud of how my DM's Guild content looks. I found this is some Creative Commons art to put on it. I formatted it to look like it came out of a player's handbook or something like that. I'm just super proud of it. I have gotten nothing compared to how gorgeous this product looks. They've got beautiful artwork throughout the entire thing. It's absolutely astounding how gorgeous it is. A lot of it looks like classical artwork. I'm actually going to open up and see. They do list an artist. I can't read that. uh, Nathaniel Roux. It's French. I'm assuming. So they do list an artist. I'm not sure if every single piece of art is painted by this person, but it's gorgeous. So, like I said, but please go check out all this. But please pick it up. My next few D&D deep dives are all going to be about this, because I'm super thrilled that I know this is someone that's doing amazing things. And like I said, I really adore Dael. I'm sure Jeremy is a wonderful, amazing person as well. I've just never interacted with them, so my opinion isn't entirely of Dael. Anyway, Dael, Jeremy, if you're watching this, like I said, everything here is said with love. I really enjoy everything you guys have in here. I'm just going to comment on, the things that I see from my years of running everything from Adventures Leagues games at conventions to my own stuff. So I hope you guys are flattered, or at least, pleasantly surprised by this stuff I say. And yeah, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys in the next time. All right, bye-bye.